What's going on, everybody? It is January 6th, 2024. It's going to be the weekly forecast for the week ahead. So I'm going to go through futures, index futures first on just the higher time frames, just the monthly, daily, weekly. I'm going to go over the bonds, and I'm going to go over the dollar index and a couple Forex pairs. The only reason I'm starting this way is to give you the context of the higher time frames and see the overall aspect of what's really going on in terms of intermarket relationships. So if we're looking at NASDAQ on the monthly time frame, we have a SIBI that was resting here. And as soon as we got above that, that turns into an inversion level. So we met that last week right at the premium end, and we have a couple down close candles as well, which act as a order block. So if we go down to the weekly time frame, right in the same area, we have a BISI. And I talked about in one of the daily logs, I didn't want to see NASDAQ reach the very discount low of that BISI. Just preferably, it's not a great sign when you're nearing the end of a PD array in terms of its boundaries. I am still electing to look for higher prices in NASDAQ this week in index futures, as you'll see in the video here. But to me, it's still fine, still valid. The body closed inside of it. If we go down to a daily time frame, so we have the monthly inversion level, the daily time frame, fair value gap, and then a fair value gap here on the daily time frame. So if I take this away and we simply look at the dealing range, price retraced into basically optimal trade entry. So right inside of a discount here. Let's see, equilibrium's there. Drop down into a discount. It's a good sign. If we want to continue to see higher prices, then price reaching into a parent dealing range discount, especially optimal trade entry paired with a fair value gap that's bullish, it's a really, really good context. It may take a day, it may not, but in my eyes, I'm just looking at the economic calendar as well this week. We only have CPI on Thursday. The rest is, we don't have news event drivers for, I believe, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So maybe expect consolidation Monday, Tuesday, who knows? But when you're at tops and bottoms of dealing ranges, sometimes you may not get that immediate rejection away from that discount or that premium. You may have consolidation before you expand once more. So it's just something to be aware of. Looking at ES as well. ES is getting into, let's go out to the weekly time frame. ES mitigation block here. I'm sorry, that actually is a breaker. You have a high, a low, then a higher high. So we have a bullish breaker here with a BISI in confluence with it. It's a really, really good signal, especially on lower time frames, this little entry pattern. ICT calls it a launch pad model, or at least pattern, where you have the breaker and then the fair value gap resting inside of it. So I want to see if ES can reject away from this. Look at the daily time frame, fair value gap there, dip down into it. We're also dipping down into a discount as well. So we have the dealing range low, it's a high there, equilibrium is resting right there, dip down into a discount. If you look at Dow is the strongest of three, so it's the most bullish. So what does that mean if you're looking at the intermarket relationships and how you're trading it? This goes for ES and NQ in terms of the six sister approach, where you're trading either the strongest one or the weakest one of the three. This, if it's the strongest, will not make a new will not reach into a discount much like ES and NASDAQ. So this makes sense. And it's also not making a new lower low in here, which is a bullish SMT. So I want to see if Dow or YM can stay above its bullish PD raise. Since it's the strongest of the three, I would expect it to leave certain PD raise open in a bullish buy program, and for it not to make the same relative lows that NQ and ES are making. Does that make sense? How there's a crack in the correlation of what they're doing, and just understanding which one is the strongest of the three or the weakest. So to me, that lines up in terms of a bullish analysis going into the week. Does that automatically mean I'm buying and I'm looking for an automatic run right away? No, I'm going to wait for evidence and something to trigger me to get into the market, right? I could be completely wrong. So keeping that open-minded and not being so solidified on one side will really, really help you. When you're looking at the dollar index as well, we have, let's go out to the monthly time frame. We dug up into the SIBI here, and then we drop down into the busy underneath price. So I want to see, ever since we've gotten away from this fair value gap, I want to see if we can continuously keep dropping lower. If we can reach underneath this fair value gap in here, it'll be a really, really good sign for us to continue to drop lower into more discount levels. Looking at the weekly time frame, we have this fair value gap there coupled with the bearish order block. So you have two things in confluence: price reaching up into a premium, and you have that monthly time frame in support of this analysis as well. So I want to see if dollar index can continue to drop lower this week, which would be in confluence with NASDAQ, ES, Dow all going higher. And I think it's pretty clear order flow to me. This is a really simple, easy model. When you're in a really clearly one-sided order flow, it's very easy trading, because you know that price should ideally reach up into a premium or a discount relative to its dealing range and reject off of some type of bearish or bullish PD rate, and you just continue lower or higher. And we'd be looking for the sell side liquidity resting underneath that low there, and to break underneath the inversion fair value gap as well. So a couple sell side liquidity pools. If we could drop lower in here this week, that'd be great. Take all this away. Even the daily time frame, I think, is pretty clean as well. We have a volume imbalance there, and then we have the SIBI. So last week we reached up into the volume imbalance and the SIBI. You can see the rejection away from it. Been following the logs. I talked about how dollar index last week for a couple days had a weird wick or feed, and I talked about how if you just wait a couple days, it will correct itself. So we have a fair value gap there. I was kind of eyeing the inversion level there as well. So rejected off of this. It's kind of a weird close, doji candle, indecisive. It's kind of where I'm getting the idea of waiting maybe a couple days this week to really have a hard line bias and see where we're going, because we could easily push higher once more and get above, or at least fill in this portion of the wick and retrade into this SIBI and then sell off. So I could see that. I just want to wait for a little bit more clear analysis or direction. Looking at euro, so this is basically the opposite of dollar index. Let's just go out to a weekly time frame. We have a balanced price range. One pass up, one pass down, extended to our right. You can see the bodies are respecting the discount low. Had a nice retracement back down into this bullish order block there. It's actually a propulsion block, if you want to get technical, because this candle rejected off of a bullish order block as well. Same with this one. Both of these are propulsion blocks. Or you could just view it as an order block, if that makes it easy, because it is. Let's go down into a daily time frame. We have a fair value gap resting underneath price. And you can see, much like dollar index, how it reached up into its fair value gap. Euro has not. So that's a SMT divergence, which is a good thing. If we want to continue to see higher prices in euro and lower in dollar, you can see it reach down into its discount level as well. So it may want to retrace once more, like I was talking with dollar index. It may have one more drop lower. It may not. I could see it 50-50. When you're inside of discounts or premiums and you're inside of those premium or discount PD rays in those daily time frame, weekly time frame dealing ranges, it's really, really key not to make a hardline bias or decision right there and then. It may have a couple more days until we have clear confirmation. As far as lower time frames on NQ, there's this discount fair value gap, and then this breaker here. Let's extend that out to your right. Let's go down into the 1 hour. There's a lot of buy side liquidity resting above price. So we have all of these relative equal highs resting above price. We'll have to see if it just wants to expand away from this low that was made. We may just go into consolidation. I'm having a really hard feeling that we're going to do that. There's going to be a lot of consolidation, seek and destroy in the first maybe day or two of this week. That's really what I'm viewing. And we may run for the buy side and then continue higher the rest of the week. And that's ideally what I'd want. So if you watched Friday's log, I talked about looking at the structure of the 1 hour and the 4 hour. We still haven't broken above any significant highs. So all of these highs in here, we haven't closed above it. So there's really no shift in market structure just yet. Knowing the information on the higher time frames and everything else, obviously I'm looking for those higher prices, and it's okay to look for longs when you haven't had a shift in market structure, but it's a good confirmation. It's a good sign if we close above any of these highs in here and then rally into the premium end. I think that's going to be it for today's video. I will be live streaming tomorrow live. If you're not already, follow me on Twitter, because that's where I'm going to post all the at least notifications for the lives. I plan on going live probably about 10 minutes before the open, maybe right at the open. My main focus is the silver bullet. So the first 30 minutes, I'm not going to be trading. I'm not going to be, I'll obviously be reading price, but it's not something I'm looking to enter into. That being said, until tomorrow, good luck and good trading, everybody. Be safe.